Hey beloveds, Victoria here and you're watching My Books Me, and today I wanted to share with you my top 5 books of 2018 because if I wait any longer, well, we'll be so far into 2019 it's not going to matter and be kind of redundant. It was actually so difficult to narrow down my top 5 books because a lot of the books I read last year were between 4 and 5 stars, some amazing books that I really liked, but I managed to get there. So in no particular order. The first book is The Park Bench by Chabot. This is a graphic novel and it is stunning. Black and white, there are no words, there are no speech, no like descriptive writing, nothing. It is black and white. It is such simple art drawing. Like, look at that. And it tells the story of so many people who cross paths with a simple park bench. It is beautiful. I didn't think I would enjoy this book as much as I did, and just the way that the story is told with so little detail, like just pictures alone, just drawings alone, like a lot of it is, some parts are very open to interpretation, but overall it is amazing at how well Chabot could tell all of these different stories just with pictures. It was so great. I highly recommend it. It is also perfect for someone who hasn't read a lot of graphic novels or can't really get into graphic novels because it's just really simple and easy to read, and I love it. Highly recommend it. It is such a beautiful book. Next is Akafas, or A Caught in Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. This is book 3.5 in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I personally really loved this. I know a lot of fans didn't. I can sort of understand why, but I'm like, no. I love this book so much. It is a novella, or really a novelette. And the idea behind this book was it was going to bridge the gap between the original trilogy of the series and what is to come with the series. So closing Feyre's story and Feyre as the main character and the perspective we're following, and opening up to, I think, 3 new perspectives, or at least 3 new people that we are following in the rest of the books. So it is set over the winter solstice and Feyre's birthday as Prythian is on the rebuild, and kind of how everyone is dealing with everything that happened with the war, the things and people they lost, and everything like that. It is beautiful, and we get introduced to 3 new perspectives in this, and I'm just going to tell you, I have been avoiding telling people whenever I've talked about this book, but I mean, it's been out long enough that I think I can. We have more Nesta and Cassian, with Nessian being the focal point of at least the next book, because there is also a preview in the back of this of the next book, and it is amazing, and I really want the next book so badly. But I just loved how this was closing one part of the series and then opening the next, and I'm very excited for it. I thought this was a really great inclusion in the series. This is going to have to tide us over until the next book in 2020. I'm very excited. This was a really good addition to the series. I love the ACOTAR series, so like, of course I was going to really love this. Next we have As She Fades by Abby Glines. This is a standalone novel and so good. Like, I knew I would really enjoy this, but I didn't expect I would enjoy this as much as I did. I also didn't expect the plot twist that was in here. Abby usually does put some sort of twist and turn into all her books, but it's never been as like intense as this one, and like book life altering as this one. Like, you spend a majority of the story following these characters and these relationships, and then all of a sudden, in an instant, in just a page, in a sentence, boom, it's all flipped on its head, and I was just like, whoa. I didn't expect it. I said this in my 2018 review video. I had actually sort of read ahead and I kind of knew what was coming, but had I not done that, I wouldn't have known it was coming until I was reading it and being like, holy crap, she went there. So in this we follow Vale, who on the night of homecoming, her and her boyfriend are driving home, excited because at the end of summer they are off to college together. They're like planning on moving out early. They have a car accident on the night of homecoming. Or graduation, one or the other. I think it was graduation, might have been graduation. On the night of graduation, they have a car accident and Crawford ends up in a coma. Vale essentially walks away without a scratch. Crawford's in a coma, and we pick up a month later He's still in a coma in hospital. Vale visits him every single day in the hopes that he will wake up. While there, she meets this guy called Slate, who is visiting his uncle. Slate ends up being Vale's brother Knox's fraternity, frat bro. And, you know, going to the same university that she's about to go to. Vale is very decided about going to university because she had planned, like, Crawford and her had planned this future together, so she doesn't want to go without him. She is eventually convinced by her family and his family that she should go. She should live her life. Like, Crawford would be upset with her if he woke up and found out she'd just been wasting away by his bedside the entire time. So she goes off and she starts experiencing this whole new world away from Crawford and her family. She can finally sort of live again, and she's meeting people. And she ends up hanging out a lot with Slate because he's the only other face that she knows. And, you know, they both hit it off with one another. And she's very conflicted because she's still with Crawford, but she's starting to develop feelings for Slate. And she doesn't know, like, when he's gonna wake up. Is she just gonna wait for him for years and years and years and then he'll, like, wake up? Or is he just never gonna wake up? Like, you know, it's just all very confusing. And so she kind of sort of embarks on a relationship with Slate, but kind of not. It's just kind of this weird, like, middle ground because she doesn't really know what to do. But everything kind of turns on its head, and it was so good. Next book is Tequila Tequila by Emma Hart. I always want to say, like, tequila tequila, like Shakira's, like it's in Hips Don't Lie with Shakira Shakira, which I love that Emma made a reference to that in this book, because every time I see the title of the book I'm always, yeah. Anyway, I read a lot of Emma's books in 2018, so it was very difficult to, like, pick just one to put on this list. I loved, like, all of her books that I read, and I could very easily made, like, a top 5 books with all her books, but, like, that would have been boring and silly. But this was a really, really fun one. It follows Aspen and Luke, who are BFFs after a night of hitting the tequila and going a little bit too hard. They end up back at her place, and instead of just sleeping, they hook up. And it's not even really hooking up, because it was barely doing it. Aspen was faking things. Luke thought he was doing a good job. And it was the worst experience of Aspen's life. She wakes up the next morning and she can remember the whole damn thing. She'd hoped that because she'd drunk so much, she would just forget everything. No, she wakes up the next day, realizes she remembers the entire excruciating experience, but Luke doesn't remember. So now she has to kind of go about her life without the knowledge that he is the worst sex she has ever had. And it kind of becomes this weird, awkward bit in their friendship. But however, it turns out Luke does remember. Luke remembers the whole damn thing, and he's just as embarrassed. But because Aspen never said anything, he thinks she doesn't remember. And because they've now hooked up, they kind of start seeing each other in a whole different light. And, like, everyone's kind of always expected that one day they would end up together. But they're always like, no, we're just best friends. Like, we're not, no, ew. And now they're just, because of this whole awkward encounter, they're just like, wow, okay, I kind of like you a little bit more now. And it follows their road to, like, figuring things out and whether they'd be good as a relationship, and just coming clean about the fact that they do remember that horrifying night. This was just really, really fun. Emma is amazing at writing rom-coms, and this was so funny and so fun. And one of my favorite parts of this book was Luke's Mexican, and his grandmother is, like, crazy and awesome and hilarious. Such a fun book, highly recommend. If you've never read anything by Emma's before, this is a good place to start. I just love her books, and this was just so freaking fun to read. Finally, the last book is Straight Up Irish by Megan Vernon, the first book in the Murphy Brothers series. This one, so fun, so swoon worthy. I wanted to move to Ireland, I needed to be in Dublin, I want to find an Irish guy. Oh my god, I loved it. So this book follows the middle of the three Murphy brothers, Connor, and the Murphy brothers are the inheritors of their dad's Murphy pub business, and I think they do whiskey. I don't know. It's this, like, major, like, pub chain, mainly in, like, UK and Ireland, but it's, like, also very international. And their father recently passed away. Connor returns from the US for the reading of the will. Turns out their father was like, okay guys, you can inherit your part of the company if you get married and stay married for 6 months. if you get married within 12 months of this will being read and you stay married for 6 months. And they're like, crap. Because if they don't inherit their share, their 1/3 share of the company, it goes to the board and is essentially sold off to the board members. And they're all like, crap, none of them have any relationship prospects. So Connor decides he is going to start a fake relationship with his older brother Jack's secretary assistant, who he's never met in person before, but she's always like the person to like ring and message him whenever he needs to be in a meeting. Like they've got this like relationship kind of already formed, but they never met one another in person. So they start hanging out with one another, and Connor's like, look, let's start a relationship, then we'll get engaged and get married, and then in 6 months time we'll just file for a divorce, you know, make some excuses, I'll inherit my piece of company. And her deal was she got like money, her student fees were paid off or something like that. Like she got money, maybe a house, like she got a pretty good deal out of it. So yeah, they just embark on this relationship of convenience, but naturally like feelings actually develop between them, and they both, it's one of those, you know, it's one of those things where they both know there is like an end date to all of this, but as it approaches, they know they don't want to go their separate ways, but they have to. I love this. It was so fun, very swoony. It just makes me want to go to Dublin and just find an Irish guy. Like I would totally go into a marriage of convenience with some guy, because if it's gonna end up in love, like yeah, let's do it. I loved it. Highly recommend it. The second book also came out last year as well. It was just as good, and the third book is coming out this year, so definitely a perfect time to read this book and get into this series. So they are my top 5 books of 2018. Very similar theme going on with all of them. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them. I will link below to my written reviews for all of these, and to my, I think I did a review video on Akafaz. Anyway, reviews to all these will be linked below if you want to know more about them and more about my thoughts. Let me know what were your top 5 books of the last year. If you've done a video, let me know, because I will check it out. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!